Hi class, so in today's video I'm going to talk to you how to calculate molar mass. Molar mass is the sum of all the atomic masses. Of all the atoms in a compound. So when you look at the periodic table, right, you see squares like this. For example, you see the symbol in the middle. You see the number at the top, which is the atomic number, as you've learned earlier in this class. And the atomic number is the same as the number of protons. And then you have this number on the bottom, which we haven't used at all, but we're going to start using it now. This is called the atomic mass. It is the average mass of all the isotopes. So an isotope is a certain number of protons and a certain number of neutrons, and this is the average of all of them. You can think of it as the average quiz score in a class. Each individual score is an isotope, and then the average is the atomic mass. So all you do is you add up all the atoms, and that represents its molar mass. Now, you have to know what the word molar mass refers to. Molar mass refers to the mass of 1 mole of a substance. Now, a mole is just a counting number. Think of a dozen being equal to 12, right? Instead of saying 12, you can say a dozen. Well, instead of saying 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, which is the number of atoms, it's a huge number of atoms, right? 23's, you have to move the decimal point 23 times that way in order to get the number of atoms in 1 mole. Again, all it is, a mole is a counting number. Just like a dozen is 12, a mole is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. And we'll talk about that more going forward. So the easiest way to do this is to use your periodic table, so make sure you have one out, to do 3 examples. So the first is the simplest kind of one, where you just have 1 atom. So if you see here calcium has a mass of 40.08. So you write 40.08 grams per mole. And I know we don't include the E there. This is a short form of the word mole. It's just cut off the E. I know it's very weird, but it's the way that chemists do it. So this is the answer to if you were asked for the molar mass of calcium. That means that if you weighed out 40.08 grams on a balance, right? So you take a balance, right? It has a little readout on here. You make a little pile of calcium, 40.08 grams, and you know that you have 1 mole of atoms in there. Or you can say it as you have 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd atoms in that sample. So let's do a slightly harder one. We have NaNO3. So you look on the periodic table, Na is 22.99. So you write here 22.99. And there's only one of them, so we write times 1. Nitrogen is here, it's 14.01. So you write and you add them together. 14.01 times 1. And then you do oxygen. And you look at oxygen on the periodic table. Slide it over here. And oxygen is 16 grams per mole. .00 times 3. Notice that there's 3 oxygens. So you use your calculator to do this. So I'm going to type it into my calculator here. 22.99 plus 14.01 plus, and 16 times 3 is 48. And I hit equals, and I get 85. So the answer is 85.00 grams per mole. And that's the molar mass of NaNO3, or as it's called, sodium nitrate. In the third example, we're going to do aluminum hydroxide, or AlOH3. So again, you look at the first atom there, it's Al, and Al on the periodic table is 26.98 grams per mole. And there's only one of them. And we know that oxygen is 16 grams per mole. But there's 3 of them. Remember, this number distributes inside. So it's 16 times 3. And then hydrogen is 1.01 grams per mole. And, as we said before, this 3 distributes on the inside, so there's 3 of them. 1.01 times 3 is 3.03. 16 times 3 is 48. And we still have 26.98 times 1. So, we type this in. 26.98 plus 48 plus 3.03. And you get your answer, 78.01 grams per mole. So that means if you get 1 mole of aluminum hydroxide, it weighs 78.01 grams. Or in other words, if you got 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd of this compound, it would weigh 78.01 grams per mole. So please do the practice, and thanks for watching the video.